Hi, I'm Betsy Bair, and this is a presentation on my paper regarding Bears Ears National Monument, Patagonia, and the leadership of Yvon Chouinard. The idea first came to me on this when I looked and was really intrigued by the prompt given on government scandals. The leadership and management of federal lands has not been a scandal, but it has been fairly controversial. And really this culminated in the designation of Bears Ears National Monument. And I wanted to look at the bigger issue of public lands and natural resources in the West. I was hoping to focus on all the leaders involved in the Bears Ears National Monument debate, but with multiple presidents, multiple secretaries of states, county commissioners, governors, Native American tribes, it just got too large and I had to really narrow it down. So I decided to focus on one leader and his role in the larger public lands debate, and I chose Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia. The background on this is the Antiquities Act of 1906 allows presidents to designate areas national monuments. Bears Ears National Monument was a very controversial designation by President Obama and was done just days before he left office on December 26th of 2016. Trump was then elected and inaugurated, and he came in with a very different approach to public lands management. He asked the Secretary Zinke to review all presidential designations and national monument designations that have happened since 1996 and that were over 100,000 acres in size. Secretary Zinke made some recommendations on December 4th of 2017. Almost a year later, President Trump greatly decreased the size of Bears Ears National Monument and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monuments. There was instant pushback. Many lawsuits were filed in federal court, including one by Patagonia Works. Some historical perspective is federal lands are primarily concentrated in the western United States. Over 40% of the lands of western United States are owned by the federal government, with only 4% of eastern states being owned by the federal government. When the federal government is your neighbor, that creates some really great opportunities, but it also creates some really great conflicts. There's an ongoing debate and fight over the management of these lands and what uses should be used on these lands. As we look at that and the designation of Bears Ears National Monument and then the decision to shrink that monument, I wanted to look at some leadership in this. And there's a really interesting case study by Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia. Chouinard has a great background. He was a environmentalist and really worked to change the environment since he was very young at 14 years of age. He was a climber and got involved in climbing in a falconry club in Southern California. They would rappel down to look at the falcons' nests and to train them, capture them and train them. He realized that all of the gear they were using at the time for climbing was scarring the walls of they were climbing very terribly. So he used innovation and entrepreneurship to change and really revolutionize climbing throughout the whole world. He then shifted his focus to gear and climbing gear, and Patagonia was born from this. He had a great leadership style and brought in big profits. From the very beginning, he really wanted to focus on environmental stewardship and find the balance between the shadow and the dark, the use of public lands and natural resources, and the outdoor recreation. But then he got a little bit ahead of himself. The day after President Trump's decision to reduce the size of the monument, on Patagonia's website, there was a huge sign, "The president stole your land." In an illegal move, the president just reduced the size of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monuments. This is the largest elimination of protected land in American history. All of that was completely false. Chouinard left his leadership of light and moved into shadow. Knowingly, he used his celebrity to get people to believe something relating to his agenda. We see some biblical examples of this in the Bible, one being King David. He moved from light to shadow. He was tempted gave into temptation and then moved back into the light. He overcame. No man can serve two masters. We know this. And Chouinard was really trying to at this time. Overall, what we learned from this case study is we need really ethical leaders using best practices in moral leadership, and we need them outlined in this course to continue the debate. We need to find common ground, engage stakeholders to solve this and bigger questions of management and the use and designation of federal lands. Thank you.